Yes.
Thank you, Anthony, for that on the policy. I think that's going to be great.
Good evening. It's 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, August 14th. I'll call to order this regular meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls City School District Board of Education. Ms. Stoykoy, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Coco?
Here.
Mr. Gomez?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Ms. Schaefer?
Here.
Ms. White?
Here.
Thank you. Item B is approval of the agenda. Number one is a motion to approve the agenda. So recommend the Board of Education approves the agenda of the August 14th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. Action by the Board of Education, adoption of a consent agenda means that all items are adopted by one singular motion unless a member of the Board of Education, treasurer, or superintendent requests that any such item be removed from the consent agenda and voted upon separately.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Ms. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
I want to take a moment before we move forward just to comment on the catastrophic flooding that our community faced last Thursday. You know, as Board of Education members and with our superintendent, we were communicating on Thursday about how dramatic and how drastic the flooding was. We know that many of our families have been affected by that in real and serious ways, and that includes many of our staff members that live in the area as well. As the school board, our approach to addressing flooding isn't, you know, we're not the primary people to address flooding, but we can assure our community that we were assured by our construction folks and the city sewer that at our new construction project that our water retention worked exactly as it should work. I know I live in that neighborhood. There was flooding in that neighborhood, but our project did not contribute in any way to the flooding in that neighborhood, and we want our community to know that, because I think that's important. We also want our community to know that this just proves the point of how needed our family, Black Tiger Family Center is needed, and that we have collected supplies there. I know it doesn't officially open until September 24th, but we know of families that had gone back to school shopping and lost those supplies. And if there are families that are in that sort of need, please reach out to your building principals. They're in the buildings. We are here to help in the ways that we as a school district can help. And please just help spread that message as well. We want to be able to help our families in the ways that we as a school district can help our families as we all come together to face this crisis as a community. So thank you for that. Item C is opening ceremony. Number one is informational items. This meeting is a meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It is not a public community meeting, although there are opportunities for public participation. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic found on the meeting agenda, the individual must complete a registration form found inside the attendance notebook and present it to the treasurer. Following the introduction of the topic by the board president, followed by board discussion, the individual will be recognized. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic not found on the meeting agenda, they must notify the superintendent and/or board president of the topic no later than 3 business days in advance of the meeting. These individuals may share their comments during the board business portion of the agenda. In both cases, the individual will preface comments by an announcement of their name and address and limit comments to 3 minutes. All statements should be directed to the board president. No person may address or question board members individually. In addition, in public session, the board will not hear complaints about school personnel nor against any person connected with the school system. An unabridged board agenda for this meeting can be found on your electronic device at the address shown on the screen. And for your convenience, hard copies of the board agenda may be found on the table by the sign-in book. The next Finance Committee is August 20th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. in the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education offices, which are now at 405 Talmadge Road. And the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education is August 28th at 5:30 p.m. right here in the Cuyahoga Falls High School Library. Now for our Pledge of Allegiance and our welcome, Dr. Selko.
Thank you. Good evening. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. Our vision, Cuyahoga Falls City Schools, the hub of our community, committed to a culture of caring. We innovate, we create, we personalize education for all. Our mission, every student, every day, every opportunity. The board's strategic plan goals are as follows. School safety. We aspire to have a welcoming environment that ensures that the physical and social well-being needs of every student and staff member are met. Academic growth. We aspire to have significant growth through personalized education for all students. We aspire to improve graduation rates so that our students are prepared for employment, enrollment, or enlistment. And engagement, inclusion, diversity. We will ensure that every student has access to resources they need when they need it in order to be successful. In technology and systems integration, we aspire to create safe, secure, and efficient technology systems to support high-quality teaching, learning, and district operations.
Thank you, Dr. Salko. Item D, presentations. We have one exciting presentation tonight. It's awarding of diplomas. It's recommended the Board of Education grants a Cuyahoga Falls High School diploma to the following individuals who have now completed requirements stated by the state of Ohio for high school graduation.
So
Let-
moved.
Gotta read the names.
I'm sorry.
Aaron Eugene Austin, Aaron Travis Britton, Brian Kelly Herder, and Joshua Benjamin Thorburn, who is here tonight. We'll have you come up in one moment.
So moved. Sorry.
Second for Mr. Harris. Discussion. We're very proud of all of our graduates, and we are excited to enroll these 4 new names amongst the alumni of our school district. And in a moment, we'll have Mr. Thorburn come up to present him with his diploma. Will you please call the roll, Ms. Stokely?
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Thorburn, if you want to come.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
You and your family are free to celebrate if you'd go celebrate if you'd like. Don't feel obliged to stay. But you're welcome to if you'd like. Item E is Treasurer CFO's business consent agenda. Ms. Stoykoy.
Thank you. I'd like to recommend the Board of Education approve all items listed in the treasurer consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Was that Carrie?
It was
Okay.
Ms.
I got distracted by Patty's voice over there. I thought she was throwing it.
Sorry.
Okay. Just not much here, just a couple of the minutes. Donations. There's one on here just to kind of highlight, it's an anonymous one, but it was a $25,000 for the planetarium at the new 612 building. So. Person preferred to remain anonymous, so it's like that. And then there is just as you can see, a bunch of other with the Scholastic campaign and different individuals to the marching band in memory of Shirley McGee. So we always appreciate those, certainly. Keep them coming. And the change funds, we did this in July, but KJ had asked that we revise the athletics to be increased now that we are required to take cash again. He's going through it a little more and making the change and all of that kind of stuff. So he asked for that to be increased, so I told him that we would to get ready for football season going in. So that is the reason for that change. And that's it.
Any questions or comments from the board?
No, but all these donations, thank you so much. It's really something.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
It is.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye. Thank you. Takes us to item F, Treasurer CFO's business. Ms. Stoykoy, comments?
Yep. First, I just wanted to thank you guys. We are all getting settled into the new building, but on behalf of my staff, and I'm sure everybody else, but I'll speak for my staff, who are all out, as you know, here in one area, and now they all have their own spaces, so they're loving life. and enjoying that they do not have to contend with what everybody else is doing and people walking through, and that they're able to kind of concentrate a little more, maybe do a Zoom if they want without being interrupted. So I want to just thank you guys for that. I think we're finally getting settled in, and everybody seems to really, really like it and be working well. And then the other thing I told you guys, but I didn't tell everybody. So next Saturday, my daughter is actually playing here against the Falls volleyball team. We're the It's on the 24th at 11:30. So I told them I told you.
Yeah.
I said I gotta get my pass. They were talking about there. So
Yes.
I'll be here. And that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Doikoi. Item G is Superintendent CEO's Business Consent Agenda. Dr. Selko.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. We haven't had this happen before, and as I was sitting here, Chris just texted me, and so I'm not sure how we would handle this. The boys and girls contract that was updated, there was another update, and it didn't come in on, I have it now to forward to people, but I can't upload it and without, because it's on the board agenda. So how would you like to handle that? Anyone? I know. Yes, I had the same reaction, but we could pull it out of the consent for one, maybe, and then
So
handle
I
it
make a
separately?
motion to amend the agenda to move item 6 under the consent agenda out of the consent agenda.
Second.
We just have to give Ms. Doikoi a moment because Board Docs takes a second for her to update, so.
Sorry, pal.
And we're removing number
Moving 6 out of
Okay.
consent. So we'll do that one last.
Okay, I got that. All right.
Okay.
Should I
And then
continue?
you can call the roll to amend the agenda.
Ms. Schaefer,
Aye.
Ms. White,
Aye.
Ms. Coco,
Aye.
Mr. Gomez,
Aye.
Mr. Harris.
Aye. And then you can make your recommendation to approve
Yes.
consent.
One moment, mine is being funny.
And if you can send that to Mr. Hutch so that when we get to boys and girls, you can put it on the screen and we can go through it.
Okay, I will forward that in a moment. Okay, thank you. It is recommended that the Board of Education approves all items listed in the superintendent's consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. We have a number of items this evening. I'll return to the personnel one, but some of our new hires, I'll come back to that at the end. But we do have a number of items on there relative to the Spark staff. We have pleasantly happy to see our van drivers. We have a couple that will be hired. We have coaches, we have professional development and training, we have some transfers, resignations, and then a laundry list of different items and supplementals. So the other item that we have is the new hires, as I had mentioned. So I'm going to introduce you to a few people that are here this evening, so you'll have to identify yourself. And hopefully you're all here. I'm doing the math on this. Maybe someone is not
There's
here.
3.
Unless Ms. Carlisle would like to be introduced again. I can come up with some good remarks for her. All right. Okay. All right. So our first one, our first candidate this evening is Becky Matheny. There she is. And Becky will be serving, provided everything goes well this evening, as our new district social worker. She earned her Bachelor of Arts from the University of Akron in Business and Organizational Communication and a Master's of Social Work also from the University of Akron. With over 15 years of social work experience in a variety of roles and settings, she is excited to bring her skills to serve the needs of our students, specifically at the elementary level. And she and I had some great conversation in her interview. I probably asked more questions about her current role than I did about her as a candidate, because she has an interesting current job. I believe Mr. Derek Smith is not here. I'm going to guess. Okay. Miss Katie Lewis is here. I met Katie. Okay. A Black Tiger welcome to Miss Katie Lewis, who has also moved back to Ohio from that other state that we won't say. This is coming from Miss Bogdan. She earned a Bachelor of Arts in Special Education with a minor in Dance Education from Hope College and is currently pursuing a Master's of Science in School Counseling. We look forward to watching her dance into action as her new intervention specialist at Price Elementary. Miss Julia Coffey, not here tonight, and Miss Chloe Schneiders. Okay. It wasn't long ago that Miss Chloe Schneiders was making her mark in the Falls as a student. All right. She will now be returning to the Falls as an alum and there is no doubt she will continue to make a positive impact in the lives of our students as our new English Language Arts teacher at the high school. She earned her Bachelor of Science in Education while majoring in Integrated Language Arts and minoring in Communication Studies. Welcome home.
Do you want to tell us about the other two?
Sure. Mr. Derek Smith is an alumni and is thrilled to be coming back to the halls of the Falls as an intervention specialist at the high school. Little play on words there, Ms. Bogdan. He comes back to us with 15 years of experience. Mr. Smith earned a Bachelor of Science in Technical Education from the University of Akron. He also has 2 Masters of Arts from Grand Canyon University, one in Special Education and the other in Educational Administration. He will serve as a dual role since a couple of his children will be attending the Falls for their first time as well. Very nice. And then Miss Julia Coffey. Miss Coffey can't wait to start as the newest member of the team at Lincoln Elementary. She comes to us as a fairly new teacher with a couple of years of experience, one of which was at the Falls, serving as a long-term substitute at Price. Ms. Coffey earned her Bachelor's of Science from the University of Akron in Early Childhood Education and an Intervention Specialist K-3. She will serve in the role of Intervention Specialist. All right, we will wait till the vote, and if it all goes well, you will each come up and say a few remarks. All right, so I'm going to keep moving along in our agenda. So those are our personnel items. We have a service agreement for Akron Children's Hospital, and those are for our clinics, to staff our clinics, as well as the one change was the substitutes when we are short a clinician at the buildings that we will need to hire an RN, so that will increase the cost for us a little bit. We have a contract for Neonet, which is for services provided to Shanae, but again, we do get reimbursed through our contract with them. And we have a transportation item here, the impracticality of transportation for a student that attends Seton Catholic School. And we have the contract for Synergy, which comes as good news for our air conditioning, as well as a boiler, the air conditioning and controls for our second phase, which is Price and Preston. So you have a contract there for your consideration. And then our memorandum of understanding for JOG, otherwise known as Jobs for Ohio's Graduates. And this came as a result of our Business Advisory Council, our strategic plan. This is a result of many of our business partners pushing for this. And we had someone come in and speak to us a couple different times from the organization. And this is to help our students earn a state seal through them, or an alternative pathway for a seal. And these are internships and job shadowing. And I believe that students also get paid for those internships. So it's kind of a nice program. It'll be the first year we're trying it. We also will have a member of our staff that will be the conduit liaison, if you will, through to them as well. And then we have two more items that I'm going to have Mr. Elder speak about, which is talk to you a little bit about the YMCA, and we won't talk about the Boys and Girls Club. He will after. And then he will talk about the Akron title item on there. So, Mr. Elder, if you would, please.
What would you like me to start?
You can talk about the YMCA.
So the agreement with the YMCA is for the before and after school programming. This is the second year for the 21st Century Grant that they were awarded late late summer and early fall last year. So programming will still be in the same locations as last year, from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. I'm sorry, from 3:30 to 5:30 at DeWitt and Richardson, and students from Preston will be transported over to Richardson, and DeWitt will serve DeWitt students there. So they will start shortly after, in the next couple weeks. They've actually already put out some information for parents to sign up, and the hope is that they will start to build those rosters, and we'll develop the transportation plan for those individuals that need to be transported as soon as we get those rosters. The service agreement, the MOU with Akron Public Schools, is specifically for Title I services for the non-public school that we service with Title I funds. And so Akron takes money from several schools who provide equitable services for those non-public students that reside in their community, but attend that non-public school, and they pooled those together. In this particular instance, the agreement is with, make sure I have it right. The MOU is specifically for Faith Islamic Academy. In this, we may get a few more of these as we move along. As I have started the process of ensuring that our federal programs are compliant, I've been meeting with the non-public entities and discussing how they plan on using the funds that they have elected to participate in with Title I. And typically, it's either some sort of service agreement with a third party or an MOU with a school district who then provides either a tutor or a Title I teacher. In this particular instance, this will be for tutoring services and the amount on the agreement.
And Akron approved their part of this on Monday. Their explanation was, as a larger district, everybody pools their funds usually into the largest district because they have like a Title I compliance officer, and that's all that one person does. So that's kind of usually, you find the largest district, you funnel all the funds to them because they're usually the best at kind of doing the compliance. So I think Woodridge sends their money to them as well.
I mean, I wouldn't say they're the best.
Wow.
But what I would say is,
It just they have the most staffing to
Yeah.
do those sorts of things, so that we don't have to.
and what I share with the staff at the non-public schools is that essentially, the money follows the kids. We want to make sure that, we're providing that equitable service. So in essence, even though what will end up happening is that we are being billed by Akron to service those kids, they still have some responsibility to be compliant for us. So there's documentation and things that they're going to have to turn in to us to ensure that they're saying that what they're saying they're doing to service those kids is actually being done. So, unfortunately, they get to be a lot.
Questions or comments from the board? Had the Jobs for Ohio graduates is a really great thing. Just to point out, our city council president, Mr. Balthus, sits on the board for Jobs for Ohio's graduates. So if you have more questions about that, he's a great resource of information and connection for that as well. And on the air conditioning contract, I just want to make sure as the board, two things. One, that piece about having a designee for change orders is in the contract. It says treasurer or their designee. So just want to make sure that we're all aware we got that piece covered. And then secondly, I just want to make sure we understand the total number that we're approving is a little bit over 4 million. So it's that 3,555 number, but then there's a up to 15% overage. So when you do that number, it's actually a little bit over 4 million. So as we talk finances, as we'll do later tonight, it's just important that we keep that total number that technically we're approving up to that 15% overage in mind. So, and then we'll welcome our new people in a moment after we vote. But I'll note this is a first for me with Miss Schneider's because I was on the board when she graduated from the high school, and now I'm on the board to get to vote to welcome her to our district as an educator. So that's a first.
I'm so glad Mr. Gomez gets to experience those things, because those of us who've been around a long time, we have children that have
You're over here.
children. Yeah, you're in the middle there. Now he gets to experience it. We all have children that have children of children. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're getting older.
Anything else? Okay, we'll call the roll, please, Ms. Stoickley.
Yes. Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Officially.
Becky will come up first. She'll lead the way. Yes, please.
Hello. Again, Becky Massini, social worker for the district. Thank you so much. I am so excited to meet the students, get to know staff, get to know families, and, immerse myself in the culture here and do what's best for the students. So thank you very much.
Okay, hi, I'm Chloe Schneiders. Obviously, I graduated from here in 2020. Just graduated from Kent State, so this is my first teaching job. I'll be high school English, so I'm really excited. So excited to be back. Some familiar faces in here. What's up, Mr. Fry? But yeah, super excited. Can't wait. It's gonna be so fun. Yay!
Hi, I'm Katie Lewis, and I'm excited to be home as well. Grew up in the Falls. It's great to be back. This will be my 8th year teaching. My whole career so far has been in special ed, and I'm excited to continue that trend and pattern. And I promise, even though I've been out of the state for quite a while now, I have never lost my Ohio sports pride.
Ms. Zeman, you can get her one of those Browns posters. Okay. that Ms. Miller was printing out earlier. Welcome to all of you. We're excited to see the positive impact you make in our district and for our students. And then that takes us to item H, Superintendent CEO's business. First up would be the Memorandum of Understanding with Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Ohio. You want to read it?
Yes, thank you. It is recommended that the Board of Education approves the memorandum of understanding between Boys and Girls Club, Northeast Ohio, and the Cuyahoga Falls City School District.
So moved.
Second.
I believe, and Mr. Elder, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the dates are the only thing that changed on this. Or
Correct.
is there another
So,
change?
yeah, there was just a slight error in the dates. It made it seem as if we were servicing the summer that already passed, so just cleaning that piece up. So the agreement will be for the summers of 25 and 26, and the school years the same, but essentially it's for after-school programming for Silver Lake and Price students at Lincoln, 3:30 to 5:30, and they are also under the 21st Century Grant. Some of the things that have come about is the fact that this week was the opening for their open enrollment period, and so the families who were involved in the program last year were notified that they could start the process of enrolling for this year on Monday. There will be more information that will come out from the schools later on this week, so that parents and families know exactly what is necessary for them to have their children participate in the program. Those individuals from the other schools will be bused the same as last year, and that should be, a very simple transition. And then just like with the YMCA, the parents are responsible for transporting the kids home.
Questions or comments from the board? I just want to thank Mr. Elder for his work with Boys and Girls Club. I know with the information they sent out in July was not accurate as to this program, and it's caused a lot of frustrations for Mr. Elder as well as for our families, and I've invited some of our families to share that with Mr. Elder, not that he's responsible for it, but that sometimes Boys and Girls Club doesn't always share what they're telling our parents with us, because we're kind of the in-between Boys and Girls Clubs and our families. And he's done a great job of working with those families, getting that information, and being able to take that back to the Boys and Girls Club with what's actually being told to our families. So I really want to thank him for the work he's done to advocate for our families with this contract.
I would add that we just met with the new executive director, I guess that's her title, but I expressed a lot of my dissatisfaction and shared with her my concerns and the complaints that reach my level or Mr. Elder's, and look forward to them fixing them, but we're not off to a great start with the latest contract, so we'll see, hope that things change.
Is the sending out to parents and, saying, hey, this is open, you can sign your child up, is the timing of that due to when they are awarded these grants?
In this particular case, no. In this particular case, in July, they sent out a notification to all the existing parents that later was found to be incorrect. And so the belief at that point in time was that they would not be running programming for after school this fall. And so then with some internal discussion and some change internally, and due to the fact that the program operates off 21st Century Grant, which still has 3 years left on it, they were able to continue programming here, with the caveat that there may be some changes in staffing. What that looks like, I have not been made aware at this point. So this year's delay really is based on the fact that they were trying to work some things out internally versus having everything ready to go early enough for families to make decisions about what they wanted to do with their children for after school care.
I know that last year, the YMCA, it was because of the awarding of the grant that we had to wait.
Yeah, that came, and then they had to get everything together for the grant. And so how that award letter for the YMCA affected the Boys and Girls Club is that at the time, the Boys and Girls Club was operating still at Lincoln, but taking students from all the elementary schools. And so in order to, make life with transportation a little bit better, we tried to kind of streamline that to ensure that there was enough equity and that there wasn't a whole lot of transportation that was going on. And so we essentially shared wait lists and rosters between both programs so that we can make sure that everybody had an opportunity, since both programs are now free and don't cost parents anything.
Thank you for all your work on this. I know it is huge for a lot of our families to have this an affordable option for them, and that they wouldn't be able to afford to have other childcare. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board? Please call the roll.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Schaefer? Aye. Ms. White?
And then your comments, Dr. Salako.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. First, I'd like to echo Ms. Stoykoy's remarks about our new facility, so thank you very much. And if you haven't had a chance to come, we'll be glad to host a little walkthrough anytime. So thank you for those of you who were able to make it, but we're there. You know where to find us, so thank you again. I had an opportunity to attend the new teacher orientation, and thanks Ms. Boggan for her work on that. It was enjoyable. It was a little tough crowd at the beginning. I think maybe they loosened up as the day went on, but a couple of them are in here. But Ms. Chloe, what generation are you part of? Like, are you Gen X, Gen Z? Gen Z, yeah. I can tell. Yes, I love it. I said at our teacher orientation, the energy of the young ones. Honestly, even though it was 28 years ago, I feel like it was like I can remember my first year teaching, and it just seems like yesterday. And I said, trust me, those of you in the room who are younger, it'll go very fast. And I used to mock teachers when you say, how long are you teaching? They're like, well, I don't know, I have to count. And I'm like, that's what I find myself doing. How many years was I in Euclid? How many years was I in this position, to add up to how many years, and I still have to do it. So it'll go fast, but we're excited for all the new staff that are joining us, so congratulations and welcome. We had, planning obviously for convocation tomorrow, so when I saw that we had a board meeting the night before, this is the big day tomorrow, so I was like, I'd try to go home and go to sleep. That won't happen very well, but we're looking forward to welcoming our staff back, and appreciate those that will be participating, because we always have to have a little fun, so we have some people helping us out with that tomorrow. So looking forward to that, and I hope that you all were able to make it. I think you are, so again, appreciate that. To have all 5 of you there means a lot, not only to me, but to our staff. They really do appreciate seeing you, and I know that you all have other things to be doing, or work, or whatever it may be, so looking forward to that. And then I had an opportunity also to visit all the schools, as I traditionally do, just to do a walkthrough with the principals, make sure they have what they need. If there's anything that they need last minute, which there were a few things we had to get straightened out, but overall they're all ready to go, and we have a couple new folks, and they're excited and primed and ready, and we've gotten out our messages to parents and families, and so everything's looking good. Some last minute, we've had our maintenance folks very busy this summer. And I want to thank them actually too for the hard work that they put in, and on the heels of the flooding too, so. And then, lastly, I just want to mention that we have, we visited our Black Tiger Family Center, as Mr. Gomez had mentioned previously, and we had our bus tour around the city a little. I was unable to go on the whole tour, but I showed up at Shanae at the end to kind of unpack and sort through things. So really appreciative to our community partners who really helped out with those efforts. They are in the process of painting the room. Our folks are doing that internally, so we're thankful for them doing that. And then we will put it together and then start sorting and getting our bookshelves stocked. And we believe we'll have coverage from Channel 5 is the latest I heard, but I think they want to come out and actually do a story, which is nice as well. So
Do we know which location collected the most?
Library.
The library?
Very much so.
Maybe we want to give them like an award or something to like keep the competitive spirit alive for future drive. I think it'd be nice. It's a nice way to like honor them all, but it'd be nice to give the library a little like award maybe when they
I
come.
was going to say they're coming in September.
They're coming in September. Maybe we also give them a little award, recognition for collecting the most, and keep that competitive spirit alive for future drives. It's kind of people are motivated by competition, especially our friends at the Elks are very motivated by
They
competition.
are.
Are they not, Miss Coco?
They are motivated. They actually had their own Olympics.
So I think if we gave them a little award, that might, and the Western Reserve people are quite
They are.
competitive as
They
well.
are.
So that might be an idea for future drives to kind of,
Well, and I
but
do-
also to thank those that collected the most as well.
Kathy
should mention
Romito is a member of the Elks and at Western
Ah.
Reserve.
And she
so
will-
She's everywhere.
She will feel the,
Yes.
but I think it'd be nice to give them a little
We
recognition
could
when
do
they're
that.
here in
And-
September.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, and we'll find a way to thank, obviously all of them.
Yes.
But Sarah Jensen has
Yes.
been phenomenal, and every day we're getting a new text. I'm getting a new text or a new idea, and she wants to do this.
Great
And she's a
person.
real go-getter and a good candidate for some upcoming awards herself.
The Elks,
Yes.
she's not been personally given that award, but the Elks got that award and she accepted on their behalf.
Yeah, I should give her a personal shout out. She's been wonderful, as has our social workers under the direction of Holly for this. So appreciative to that. So that's what we've been working on and getting the school opening. You know how this works the week before. We're excited. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item I is board business. Number 1 is Ohio School Boards Association delegate. The board appoints one of its members as the official delegate and one member as an alternate to the Ohio School Boards Association annual business meeting with power to vote. The meeting will be held on Monday, November 11th, 2024. Is there any nominations for a delegate?
I nominate Mr. Gomez.
I
Mr.
will
Gomez?
accept. Is there nominations for an alternate? Ms. Coco?
Can I nominate myself?
I'll nominate you for an
Okay,
alternate.
that works.
Do you have a motion and a second on this?
Yeah, I'll second.
Do we have a motion?
Oh, so moved.
And then second, self-second.
Second from Mr.
Sorry.
Harris, discussion. At our Northeast Region meeting last week, OSBA President Sally Green gave us an update from the, platform committee on the 2 items that they'll be suggesting to add to the platform, so I just wanted to give you an information on that. One is to be able to charge for labor for public records requests. I don't know that the legislature will ever approve that, but they would like to include that as something to advocate for. And the other is that school district would be exempt from TIFs, which I think we could advocate for. And I actually think we could find a few legislators that would actually pick that up. So those are the 2 things that will be as part of the platform. They're not controversial things, but just want to make you aware of that at this time.
Perfect.
Any other discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Thank you. Number 2 is a resolution to recommend the Board of Education approves the resolution to reemploy an STRS retiree for the Cuyahoga Falls City School District.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Schaefer. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye. Number 3 is employee contract. It's recommended the Board of Education approves the contract to reemploy an STRS retiree the same for Cuyahoga Falls City School District.
So moved.
Second.
Second from Mr. Any discussion? Ms. White, second Mr. Hare. I just want to say I'm grateful to Ms. Cleary for coming out of a very short-lived retirement to fill a need that our district has for this year, to help our students that want to continue and finish this journey of French as we phase that out. I also want to thank Ms. Carlisle, who was a help to Ms. Cleary in our district in sorting through this. I want to give my appreciation to her and our staff that made this happen. I think it's important for our students to have this opportunity, and I appreciate all those involved for helping make this occur. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Item 4 is a first read of the field trip handbook. This was supplied to us, and it's attached for anyone that's interested. This will be on for approval or action at our next meeting. Is there any comments or questions at this time? Dr. Salgo, if we have comments or questions, who would you like us to send those to between now?
You can actually direct them to Mrs. Hausman
Mrs.
directly. Yeah, she did the majority of that work. Probably the best to answer those questions.
Okay. We will do so. Thank you. Number 5 is financial recovery plan discussion. I'm going to turn it over to our treasurer.
I did put something kind of general
Okay.
together.
Well, you want me to give opening comments on why
Yeah.
we're doing it? So the reason for this is our 5-year forecast shows a negative balance in the upcoming. And whenever that happens, when our November 5-year forecast shows negative balance in the 3rd year, and you vote to approve that, which we know our November 5-year forecast will show, even if our community takes positive action on the levy that's on the ballot, we know that that's the situation we'll be in. The state of Ohio will require us to adopt a financial recovery plan. So instead of going through this in the period of Thanksgiving and the holiday season, we thought we would be proactive and open and transparent, have these discussions now. We also want to be clear with our community and our staff that none of this is coming from a place of getting rid of any existing staff. And that's very important, because I think when people hear financial recovery plan, they think that, oh, they're going to lay off staff. And that is off the table as a discussion point, and we think it's very important that people say that. And certainly it would go against everything we all believe in to the night before convocation sit up here and have a conversation about laying off staff members, and Ms. Carlisle knows that. She would be calling me after this meeting and we would be having a hard conversation if that was the case. But she knows that's not what we're doing. So we want to be very clear about what we are doing and what we're not doing as we embark on what are still nonetheless difficult conversations, because anytime you don't have as much money as you'd like to have, you still have to have hard conversations. So that's what we're doing, and we want to have this over a period of months as opposed to a compacted process, so that if people in the community have feedback they want to give us, there's time and space for that to occur. So with that, I want to give it over to our treasurer to go over where we're at.
Yep. So I provided this. This is just kind of a review of some stuff and a general overview of some costs. Nothing like specific necessarily, but some general. If you recall, we were at about $4 million in the red in the May forecast. be the third year. So that's what we're looking at, most likely, is somewhere in that vicinity. I know we've talked about a number of different options. Here's kind of some information about this. I left it pretty general, because I know we're gonna talk about this next meeting as well. So as you guys have your discussion and kind of review this, you can point me in a more specific direction of what, you know, you're looking for or things like that. So I'll just kind of go over this, in general, what I just handed to you. So that first little box at the top, is just the average, staffing costs for those positions. So that is all of our staff in those positions on average, with an average, you know, I took single insurance and family insurance and did an average of that. And so you see what a teacher, a principal, an aide, custodial staff, or secretary. So as we've been doing and as we plan to continue to do through attrition, these are the general ballpark of what that looks like, and what those costs would be if you were to not replace those in future years through attrition. Any questions on that, real quick? Okay.
But I do have one question.
Yeah.
Some of these though, like secretarial positions, like a building secretary retires, we have to, like a building needs a secretary. So like
Correct.
some of this
Yes.
isn't
Right.
like necessarily automatic attrition.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, and it depends, like I did general teacher, but it depends on what, you know, that specific position is, you know, cause obviously it varies whether it's elementary or whether it's secondary level, whether it's intervention special, those kinds of things, as you've seen, you know, throughout the past few years, it kind of just depends on what it is, like, if a guidance counselor leaves, then obviously we most likely need to replace that. But this just kinda, you know, that's all included under that teacher umbrella.
Maybe an
there.
example would be the high school position, secretarial position that we just didn't fill recently
Yeah.
through attrition, so that would be an example, I suppose.
Yes, and so we had a retirement at the end of the year that we did not fill that position going into this year. So those are the things. I'll kind of go over to the right here real quick. It's just an example of the total costs, kind of on average, of one of our,
Sorry, I have a question. That was kind of also projecting towards going into the new building too, a little bit, wasn't it? Cause some of this is like, there's a new configuration, so we also wanna prepare for what we think that looks like.
We certainly are keeping that in mind, yes, this year and next for sure.
So on the right just is kind of a little bit more in-depth. It looks at, in particular, it's an elementary, because that's probably the most conservative to look at, that if you were to consolidate in any way, if, which obviously before 3 years, we wouldn't have any like new master facilities or anything up and running to do. However, if you were to go in that direction, these are pretty much the average costs in a year. And I use an elementary because obviously we have a new 612, so nothing, you know, we're not gonna do anything there. So that's the total cost for the year to pretty much keep each of those individual buildings maintained, staffed. It's conservative, again, like you said, with the attrition. We're not necessarily meaning that we can just wipe, you know, things out, because obviously the students in some of these buildings aren't going away, and so their needs and things, so this is on the conservative end of that as well, on average. So those two are kind of together there, if you wanna look at those, so, kind of along similar veins. The next little section talks about open enrollment and kind of what that means for us. I know we've had a lot of discussions on that, whether we continue with that. And so I kind of did just some basic information on what that looks like for us right now. So we have almost 520 students that are open enrolled into Cuyahoga Falls. And so if we were to go and say we are no longer going to accept open enrollment, what would that mean? So obviously there is a penalty in the state funding formula, because as they changed the formula, they did not want everyone to do this right away, and then everybody's scrambling with that. So there is a formula that says you can't really go past a threshold of 10% of your open enrollment. You can't decrease, and it doesn't matter why. So it doesn't matter if these people just decide not to, like, if we have 100 kids that are like, I'm not applying again. They don't care why. So whether we say no or deny or shut it all down, or we just 200 less kids come, there would be a penalty because it's over the 10%. However, because we are on the guarantee, that penalty is not that significant. If you were to eliminate all 520 of those kids, you would lose about $350,000 a year in state funding. Because we're on the guarantee, we can't receive anything less. We would come off the one guarantee and go on to the other. Basically, there's two guarantees in law, if you remember. And so we're on the one, we would go through the other. Again, guarantees are not guaranteed.
Guarantees, right?
It's budget to budget. However, it has been something that has been, as long as I've been around, it has been included in every biennium budget going forward. So for other districts, it would be a much larger hit. But again, for us, it's not as much. So if you took, just on average, we spend about $11,734 per pupil. And again, this is also,
There's a lot of ways to come up with that number.
correct. So, and there's also, so some of these kids, if they are special education, if they are gifted, we're getting some weighted funding for as well that would also go away with this. So while there would be some expenditure costs relieved, there's also some revenue implications other than just the state formula, based on some of those weighted and specialized categorical aid. So if your number of special education students goes down, if your number of gifted students goes down, if it affects your total economically disadvantaged percentage numbers, that will take part in this. But just in very basic, and again, there's a lot of intricacies to how many staff you would maybe able to save, or this or that, the other. You just look at a flat, we spend $11,734 per pupil at 520, that's a little over $6 million with that. And then obviously the penalty, but again, there's gonna be a lot of different factors depending on what schools all those kids go to, and within the district, and what kind of funding comes with them, that may be more than just the regular.
So if we were, hypothetically, not at all saying we're doing this, if we were to say that's it and lose $350,000, is there a time limit on that? Or are we just forever losing $350,000?
Yeah, we would just lose that, and that would be like the base of, we're at a base of, it would switch to a different one, which would be like, I believe, fiscal 21. We couldn't receive any less than that. Now, depending on what happens in the next biennium budget and whether that changes, like whether they say now we're not gonna give you, based on FY23 is your guarantee or something like that. But really, it would be that, and we'd lose it every year. But it depends on what is actually put in the new state budget. So technically you'd lose it every year, but it's kind of a one-time shot in a sense, because we're not allowed to fall below. So we're always going to be at that guaranteed level going forward.
So we're not losing, it's not like we're dropping down every
Yeah,
year.
you don't continually drop
and then
down
you're
like
at that
another,
base,
like
and
once you
that's where
drop
you are.
down for the initial hit, then you stay there.
It doesn't compound.
Correct. Correct. You're at that, so if it was, let's say this was, the penalty was $1 million and we were at 15 million, we drop down to 14, and then we get 14 from
And you
there
just
on
stay
out.
at 14.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the 10% decrease, is that based on like, they pulled an open enrollment number and 10% decrease from that? Or is it annually a 10%? How is that annually, okay.
Yeah.
So you could scale down, which is what we did some reductions this year from last year's numbers, and then we would have to do that each year, if that's the board's desire, if you didn't just completely cut it out. But important to note, and I don't know if, Chrissy, if you wanna chime in here, but, you know, even though we lose 350,000, the flip side of that is you would reduce in staff, where you would have your savings, you know, and you see how much each person, you know, is.
Well, I think the scale down is better because it would allow for the attrition to kind of, if you scale down,
Exactly
then
right.
as attrition goes, it kind of,
That's
the two
exactly
would
right.
meet one another. If this is the option we go with, which I'm not, we made a commitment to not make decisions tonight.
Yeah,
But
but you're right.
if that's what you're saying, then it kind of allows attrition to meet student needs at the same time, then perhaps sometimes we benefit, as we have in the past, benefit from small class sizes at times, which is not the worst benefit in the world for our educators or our families. They certainly, we don't get complaints about small class sizes. That's not a complaint any of us have received.
And then the last one was just kind of a review of the properties that and/or buildings that we own that are going to be in the future or are not currently being used by students, and what those appraisals that we got over the past year came in at. So again, we don't know actually what it would sell for. You know, this building, for instance, will be vacated next year, mid-year. That was kind of these are all like the mid-range of what they believe we could get in a span. But again, the time will probably dictate part of that. You know, we got the appraisal within the last year. It's not going to be another year, so that may affect it a little bit. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the sale price either. So there is that. And then the only other thing, obviously, and I'm sure we'll talk more about this in November because we won't be doing anything relatively that soon, but you know, as we looked at the forecast, there is going to be a need for additional funding and probably a new money levy for sure during the course of this 5-year forecast.
And I think, yeah, and I know everyone would love new elementary schools. Everyone in here would probably love new elementary schools, but it gets so hard to make that our community is strapped. I mean, we know our community. We would love to go out next year and ask for a bond for new elementary schools, but just the reality of where our community is, and then with so many people, just have a flood, and it puts so many people in a place that we know people are never going to recover from. So it's hard. So we're trying to do what we can with air conditioning and other things to make those buildings more tolerable spaces in the meantime, but it's difficult, very difficult, because we know that the cycle is what it is. You never will not need additional funds, and finding a space where we feel that our community will be in a place to be able to afford additional money and a bond issue, I think, is very hard. And to be able to vote to make that ask and feel comfortable asking our friends and neighbors for that kind of money, even though we believe that our kids deserve new elementary school. I think that's where all of our hearts and minds are at. We all really believe our kids deserve it, but we know where the people in our community are at, and we know we need additional funds to operate, and we can't risk that. So it's hard. It's so hard.
I think another thing to keep in mind too is that said this in the past, and I'm kind of a believer in that. I mean, we do not have a permanent improvement levy. Those tend to be a little easier to digest and lower millage. So we spend all of our, we kind of use the emergency levy for that. But any of our repairs, our air conditioning, things like that, come out of our general fund. If there was a permanent improvement levy, those costs would be able to be shifted to permanent improvement, and those, obviously, as you know, have specifications on what that can be spent for. It's got to basically be capital improvements and, buses and pretty much all those things we're doing for the most part out of emergency levy right now. So the upkeep of these buildings, to keep them tolerable and a place
And we
for
would only
students.
need to spend it on elementary, realistically,
Correct, because we do have the half mil
for the
for
new
the
building.
yes. So, that's another thing to also keep
Definitely
in mind,
something to
because something
consider.
that is at times a little more digestible to a community, because it is more of a limited scope. But it does free up then your general fund for some of these other, we have rising special education costs, and just how inflation hit us and things like that.
Are there term limits on those, like the emergency levies? Or can you
No,
put
you
those on
can
as
do
continuing?
continuing for those.
I couldn't hear that question, I'm sorry.
I asked if you can put those on as continuing, or if you are.
Oh, the permanent improvement, yeah. Thank you.
Would a permanent improvement levy be allowed to be used for when we need to make some of our elementary buildings more ADA accessible?
Yes.
Those things, okay. Because I know that's been a challenge, particularly this last school year, to make sure that all buildings were as welcoming as they need to be
Any
for all of
kind
our
of
students.
building or grounds or kind of property improvements or additions or basically any kind of capital asset that you're improving, maintaining, or adding can come out of a permanent improvement fund. So we're talking all of our vehicles, we're talking technology, because those are capital improvements. We're talking anything done to the buildings, boilers, air conditioning, upgrades to roofs that we've been doing. All of those things can come out, bleacher repair, those kinds of things can all come out of a permanent improvement. So anything that's basically, has that lifespan of 5 years or more. So major pieces of equipment, things like that. And right now, 1 mil, hold on, I'm gonna pull that up.
Should be
So it-
over 800.
Yeah, so it's about 900.
When I first came on the board, it was 750,000.
So, I mean, really, if you're counting our total valuation, is up over $1 billion. So you're looking at about $1 million per mil, roughly. Obviously, that's going to change as things happen and there's more reappraisals and things, but.
If we could just stay at that, that seems really easy to explain to people. We can just say 1 mil is 1
Yeah.
It's hard when districts do not have permanent. A lot of them do, and that's really a lot of them how they stay off the ballot as much with operating levies is because they've got that to fall back on.
Well, and also the community needs to understand that when our other places in the government decide to give abatements, we don't get less money. You pay more money as a homeowner because we get the same amount of money as a school district regardless. But what your city council does is they say to business owner X, you don't have to pay that money. You don't have to pay your fair share of your school taxes. But somebody else has to pay your fair share of school taxes now. So me and everybody else in this community now has to pay more because the school district gets the same amount of money no matter what. So when city council, which the night Dr. Salco and I were there for our turn lane, they were giving away our tax dollars left and right, and it was painful to have to sit through that meeting. But they were doing it because a business wanted to expand, so we got to make sure that business doesn't have to pay tax dollars to the school district. But that means that all of us that live here have to pay more because we get the same amount of money no matter what. It just means that everyone in our neighborhoods has to pay more, and it's awful because I don't think our community realizes that. And after the meeting, when I talked to our city council people, they didn't even realize what they were voting on. They didn't realize that they were voting to make their neighbors pay more money in taxes. So it's very sad, our system, but that's the system we have. So
They do not need our approval on most
up to
of
75%
most of the
abatement.
ones that they do.
Used
So
to be
as
50%.
a courtesy, we usually know about it, but they do not have to get our approval to move forward with those agreements.
So I think people think that they're giving away our money, and it's just not how it works. So it's very frustrating because people get frustrated at us, but we're not the ones always making them pay more. Sorry, that's my soapbox of explaining school funding. I get more and more frustrated.
That's absolutely true.
One question I have on the value of high school in Roberts, since we have said as a board that it is our intention to sell those two properties. The other two we haven't made decisions on. So we know that the high school in Roberts we intend to sell once they are fully vacant, and we got to get the tennis court plan established fully. So what if we could get information on what years that would be and what fiscal years that would be as we look forward and like establishing this recovery plan of like what years those sales potentially could drop. And I know we don't know what the actual figure would be, but it would help me kind of understand as we're looking ahead in our forecast, like what years.
Most likely it would be in that third year. You could probably push it next year if we were really like ready to go, but I just don't anticipate
Okay.
that happening with the move and then the timeline of things. Now, again, something could happen and that could change things. I think you're probably most likely looking at us receiving any proceeds from that after all is said and done in that third year, so in 26, 27.
That's helpful information. Thank you. And then, and this is something Mrs. Schaefer and I talked a lot about, and I know as a board, could we get information on, like, total, I don't know exactly what it would look like, but like, staffing last year compared to this year? I know
I think I shared it with you. I'll share it again so it comes back to the
now
top
that it's more like
of
finalized.
Yeah, so I think I shared.
Because I think we have like things as settled as they're kind of
You should be done.
gonna be.
Yeah,
So
I'm
if we
only,
could get that.
I'm down to, I think the spreadsheet I shared, so it's Google and I
You,
kind of keep up as we
Okay,
hire
yeah.
people and things. So I'm down to like a few that I'm waiting on, some information, whether it be regarding what kind of insurance or some of the ones we just knew we hired, that have not been board approved yet, their salaries. I will reshare this and, so it's at the top of your inbox.
and then when could we get, I know it's a busy time in the world of enrollment. So I'm gonna ask it this way, when could we get like a picture of enrollment? I don't wanna take them away from helping families.
I have an updated one
Okay.
now. Well, I probably need one more
I'm having
update.
a hard
because
time
From what I
hearing
understand,
you.
talking to the principals.
I was asking for an update on enrollment, but I said I'd know it's a busy time, so I didn't want to take them away from helping families, but if they had a timeline on that, because that's one of the other pieces here was that.
Thank you.
An updated list from Ms. Shaw, because I have one, but again, in speaking with principals today, they were a little different, so,
But if it's hectic, we don't want
yeah.
to pull her away from like helping families processing enrollments.
She's always
We
updated. I think.
Yeah, I mean,
we want to prioritize
it's both,
families.
it is
and-
hectic, but at the same time, we have to keep that list
Okay.
relatively active. You know, right now, in the process of processing those individuals who, through the open enrollment process were accepted, and so they still have to go through, although they receive their acceptance notices, they still have to go through the finalization of their enrollment, and sometimes that takes time, and that's where some discrepancy comes in. In the first couple weeks of school, we're going to be monitoring closely what the actual count in every seat is, so that we have accurate counts for individuals who may not have came back to school for whatever reason and have just given us paper.
Could we just get it next Friday then?
Absolutely.
That, yeah, that would, because then it'd be for the next board meeting. What other information do folks need for the next meeting?
I know this is kind of hard to do because it has a few different hypothetical situations involved in it depending on what we would decide as a board with open enrollment and those kinds of things. But some sort of projected numbers with the staff through attrition of what our actual cost of staffing is hypothetically gonna look like through that over the next year as it currently stands, if that makes sense.
A guesstimate.
A
Yeah.
guesstimate.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a general, like, we've been putting together a general idea of kind of how staffing will look 6-12. And then, we can look at the enrollment numbers at elementary and kind of see what our guess would be as far as staffing numbers there.
Like Mr. Gomez said, not because we want on the table, getting rid of any staff, but just to give it, for me, to see on paper a more accurate picture of what that staffing looks like as a natural progression financially. I already have a lot of numbers in my head right now that I want the calculator in front of myself for, but
Realistically, if we commit to selling those two buildings/properties, if we can do that in the third year, that might be enough for that third year. So,
Yep.
The sale of the buildings too, what would that look like procedurally? I know that there are, things that we have to do with like the auction and things like that, but would you get a real estate agent? I mean, how would that feasibly work?
well, I got some good news. I don't know if I can share it publicly. We would need an executive session probably.
Yeah, I would recommend that.
Yeah, I can't share it publicly because it relates to, it would be revealing information about the sale, but we have additional information that I've come about. We could add an executive session to our meeting.
Yes, and without that bit of news, though, you're right about the,
Yes.
having to go to, offer it to a charter school first, a community school within your, district. So the only one that qualifies currently is Shanae. So we'd have to go to them and say we're selling a property. We pretty much know their position on that. So once that happens, then you go through the process of auction. We have the discretion to accept or not accept, so we're not locked into a lowest bid or anything like that.
Right.
And then should we not, want that, then we would go to, a realtor or, yeah.
And then we would just set like a time span. It's, say we enlist a real estate agent, we list it, and then we have one person come in and say, hey, this X number of dollars for this property. we could say, we'll wait, hold on, and then, okay, so we're not in the time, once you list, they're not in a time,
No,
Box.
then it's almost like you're selling a
yeah.
house.
Okay.
If it came to that, then we just bake fresh cookies so it smells good.
That's right.
Works.
If you go to bid, the board can vote to reject all bids. So you don't, even if you auction, you don't have to accept the auction price.
Right.
Just, yeah. Just like at a sheriff's
Which did
sale.
happen, I think, at the for the Sill property many years ago.
Any other information needed?
Not at this time, for me.
And then maybe we can throw some numbers up at the next one. Okay?
Thank you.
And
Thanks.
we'll move to number 6, future agenda items. Any future agenda items?
Yeah, I would like an update on gifted, not now, cause they're just starting, I know it's brand new, but maybe like the middle of the school year, around there maybe, just to see how it's going. Just an update, nothing major, just, to let us know. I know. I read the notes.
We'll pencil that in for October.
Oh, that's a little early.
That's the middle of the school year.
Well, that,
You
not
say middle of the
really.
year or middle of the
middle of the
semester?
school year is what like the end of the first semester would be.
Well, we only meet once in December, and then
So January,
January we
February.
have to do mid-year evaluations.
I know, but couldn't we get a little presentation sometime in there? If we can't, we can't.
I would just say October. Don't you
That's
think we'll have something to say in October?
We'll be here whenever you tell us.
I thought that might be too early, but it's okay.
Maybe October, if you're not ready, then we're not ready.
We'll bump it to November.
I will always be ready with the board asks.
Let's try October, November.
She's ready right now, you
Right,
can
yeah.
tell.
Want me to talk about that? That's right.
I'm just excited
The board
about
asks,
it.
I
That's
will
all.
deliver a presentation, you better believe it.
I'm just very excited, and
I don't have
wanna
to
see
set
how
the
it's going.
agendas in January. That's Miss Coco's.
Thanks.
You're welcome, Miss Coco.
I will have to give a final ESSER update for, the requirements, but I am kind of waiting, cause we've got just a little bit, so it's like in full, you get the full picture of everything, we've just got a little bit more. The deadline to put prefers on is the end of September, however, we have everything on, we're just waiting to make some expenses, so probably, in September sometime. Whichever meeting works best.
I think the first meeting in September, we have the library coming, so maybe a second meeting.
Okay.
Correct? Yeah. Yeah. You've
Library's
got,
coming the
first meeting in September, you have the readers in the library, with the library. Okay. And Top Tigers will start in October as well. I just gotta get through December.
Coming up.
Anything else for? Okay. Number 7, committee reports, construction core team.
We did meet, and I'm sorry, I forgot my notes, darn it. But we did select dates for the planning committee visit, which will be October 18th at around 5:30. I don't think the time has really been stated, but around there. And then on the 19th will be the community, so they can wander through, well, not wander, but go through the new building to see how it's coming. So you might want to add those dates. As far as I know, everything was going smoothly. If I remember correctly, the tech and all that is going in, the road widening is being done, the buildings, the cement, the HVAC drywall's going up, painting's going on. And that's about all I'm so sorry I didn't bring my notes, but everything's on time and as scheduled, so.
Did you say October 18?
That was pretty
Yeah,
much what captured.
18
I
for
haven't
the
been in
planning
the building myself for probably a month or so. I went by it today, but from what I understand, the third floor is like almost complete.
Yeah.
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 Cabinetry, casework is in, ceiling tiles are coming in.
So-
You can really feel the place as a building up there.
So it'll be interesting to take our trip and see it again.
Is the 19th the community, will that
The
be in the
community,
morning?
it would be in the morning, I
Okay.
believe, at 8 or 9. I don't think we made a firm.
texted me
Okay.
and he said that, they're thinking 9 to 12.
Okay.
Is there like a maximum number of people? Because I think, what if we
They-
get like a
no.
huge turnout, which is very possible?
They didn't put a
Because
restriction.
people are very,
so-
have been very excited to get in. So I'm just, okay.
So it'll be multiple tours, like, since it's like an open house?
Yeah, when they
Yeah,
did the
it would-
staff
it would be,
tour, they
right.
had to do it in 2 parts
Yeah.
because there was too many people to go just at once.
Mm-hmm.
Because they like that, they wanted it like one person in front and one person at the end for safety.
I almost feel the community, just saying the groundbreaking turnout, the beam
Yeah.
signing
It
turnout,
might be.
that there maybe should be some time slots for,
Like-
and maybe have built in, if people show up and they're not signed up, but almost time slots with, like when you get a ticket to go see Biltmore, you have to show up at a certain time and you put your little headset on and somebody takes you through, and then the next tour guide comes up and takes the next group. Might be a little,
Yeah, it might
I-
be.
And maybe
think
some
maybe-
spots open because
Just
some
a
people
signage,
aren't as tech savvy and we don't want to
right,
leave
like
those
leave
people
some
out.
open spots for extra people to join, like you can join the next tour,
Yeah.
you didn't sign up. But that would kind of give an idea and maybe even keep people from lingering afterwards, like here's your tour's done, this was amazing, time for the next people to start.
Because
I don't
every
know.
time we do something with them, they say, I've never seen this many people show up
True,
before.
I-
So I am
Right.
cautious about how many people might, and that's not that we don't want people to show up. We're so excited
Oh,
to
yeah,
show people
we
what
are.
they've been paying for and how proud we are of it, but we want, yeah. It's gonna
Maybe-
be,
It's really coming on, although if you do go on the tour, make sure you wear closed-in shoes.
toe shoes.
Do not wear flip-flop sandals or whatever.
They won't let you in. They won't, yeah.
Are staff gonna be able to tour as well that didn't get to go on the first round? I think it was middle school and high school
If
stuff
they-
that went.
They can come to the community
the
tour if they're
community.
not on the cleaning team, yes.
Might be fewer people in the community heading.
I just think this is a great opportunity that can be a huge success for our community. But if it's overwhelming and people are standing in a line for an hour to get in because everybody showed up at 9, it could, disappoint some people, so.
And we're doing another exclusive 612 staff tour at the end of this school year too. Miss Carlisle and I agreed on that, so, and then I told Dr. Selko it was happening and she said, okay.
Ask and you shall receive. We'll make it.
Okay. Athletics Activity Council,
We do not have a meeting set, but I just wanted to give a thank you for the schedule of all the fall sports that we all received in our packets. It was nice to go through and kind of go through my calendar and say, I could make this, I could make this, I could do this, try to hit different events throughout the season. So I'm very appreciative of that and very much looking forward to our fall sports season.
I'm glad they put the senior nights listed on there too, that was nice.
Yeah, it was nice to see.
right. Board Policy Committee, that's Ms. White and I. We had a meeting with Kenna Haycox from OSBA because we're, as you know, our staff has been meeting and going through the whole policy manual. So we met as the board policy committee to go through the ones that they want board perspective on. And we gave some history on why some of these policies were the way they were. We pointed out that Ms. White and I personally wrote some of those policies, which we did together. And we met for about an hour and a half and went through quite a stack. So we'll need to have another meeting to go through some more OSBA updates that are coming. And then eventually you'll get the full policy book update. And so as Ms. White and I believe we said, read the entire book. I think we both read it 2 or 3
At
times.
least twice, yes.
So all of you newbies who've only been here 3 years and maybe not had to read the whole book the whole time, we think it's your turn to read the whole book. So when that comes through, enjoy. I think it's about 900 pages.
It's big.
We
It's
read it
large,
2 to
yeah.
3 times each when we adopted it, and
You say 900 pages?
yes,
It's,
it got delivered to our
Huge.
houses in 2 separate
yeah,
bags.
Really?
it's 2 binders full, so it's,
Oh,
yeah.
we only have one binder currently.
Isn't it 2 binders, or is it
Yeah,
just
we have one
I don't
binder.
know. It
I
got
don't
delivered
know,
to my
but
house in
it's-
2 separate Acme bags.
Oh, yeah, it's
Oh, wow,
large.
okay.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So it's y'all.
an online version of
If you want,
There is,
but it's,
yes.
we felt like it was. We think it's your guys'.
It's our turn.
We're reading the updates because we've read all the rest. So just so you know, that's coming down the pike.
Good luck.
We're on the policy committee. We did the hard work. Now it's your turn. Business Alliance Council. I think you'll start meeting in September usually.
Yes, September
Okay.
10th is our first meeting.
It's District Wellness Committee. Mrs. Schaefer, do you have any
We have-
updates or a meeting
oh, I'm in
set?
October. We meet September 12, I believe.
Okay. Financial Advisory Committee, you meet on the 20th.
Nice designating coming into our stadium, and I said there's a potential perhaps idea that you could, sell bricks to make, like the clock tower in downtown is really beautiful. Something similar to that, but I asked that we look at doing something new as opposed to, it would be way too costly and we would disrupt the current bricks, they would break, crumble, it would be impossible to restore those. So just the nature of doing something new with them, and then in addition to selling more, but we don't know that that's what the direction they'd like to go, but I did say that's a possibility, that was what all I committed to, but that was most of our discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Sacco.
Thank you.
Legislative Liaison, Mr. Harris, I know they've been on recess. Student Achievement Liaison, Ms. White,
No, we meet in September.
they get you all the correct dates.
I hope so. And the places.
That's right.
Comments, Mr. Harris?
Just congratulations to our graduates and to our new folks and returning folks. We're happy to have you here. I was able to make it to and get a tour by Dr. Selico of the new board office before this meeting. It's looking really good over there. A lot of smiles on faces, so everyone looks happy. That's very good. A lot of space, so elbow room. That's really good. And then convocation tomorrow. Looking forward to it. So looking forward to seeing everyone.
Mrs. Schaefer?
I do not have much. We're missing Meet the Tigers tonight, but I believe the band show is Saturday, the 17th. I will not be marching with alumni, but I'll be playing with the alumni. Walk on for the concert number.
Sweet Caroline?
Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum, bum. Expect everyone to do it.
And that's at 7, correct?
I
The
do
band.
not know.
I
would have
think
to
it
look.
is on, it's Saturday.
I have to be there earlier than that.
I think it's 7, but,
Yeah, that is all I have.
Ms. White?
yes, the library sent us a little article, and because I'm big on reading, I was an English teacher here also for a long time, and, just reading is a passion. I never without a book, ever. And so I was so proud. The community reading goal was achieved at our Cuyahoga Falls Library. Together, we read almost 1.7 million minutes, 28,299 hours, or 1,179 days, or 3.2 years. I know, 2,699 children, teens, and adults joined in, and our readers exceeded our community reading goal of 1.5 million minutes by 13%. So thank you to the Cuyahoga Falls Library. What a wonderful job. That is amazing. And I love to see people reading. It's just something that I don't know. I just have a passion. I love to read. It just takes you away. Or if you read nonfiction, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Just read all the time. any chance you get. Thank you.
Ms. Coco?
Yes, I'm looking forward to the beginning of a new school year. And, again, congratulations and welcome to all of our new staff here and to our graduates. Tomorrow night is the open house for the middle schools. I'll be attending one of those as a parent. And then the open house is next week for the elementary schools. I hope to attend some of those as a board member. And then the Tiger tailgate and the first football game. I'm excited about that. And then September 10th, along with being our first business advisory meeting, we also got an invitation for the garden party. So that is that evening and is on my calendar as well. There's just a lot going on. It's always a busy time for everyone, but it's a very exciting time. So, yeah, I think that's it. I'm just excited to get back. Our family works better on a schedule, and I'm ready to get back to my schedule. Not ready to move my daughter to college this weekend, but yeah.
Not bad. My nephews say they're ready for school, but they're not ready to wake up to an alarm. But they're excited for school.
Well, I'm not exactly looking forward to it tomorrow morning either.
And yes, it's convocation. Very excited about convocation tomorrow.
Wait,
as
how
well.
shall I
Do you need a wake-up call?
No, I have an alarm. I will set it.
But I'm looking forward to all the back to school
Yeah, I know.
festivities, including the middle school open houses tomorrow and everything that's going on. And I just want to congratulate Mr. Dalka on his new baby. I can say that without violating anything because he shared a video of it to all the families through Parent Square, so I'm not breaking any confidentiality by congratulating him, but he's got an adorable new baby, so congratulations to him. I hope he enjoys
great.
time with his family. Item J is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, please call the roll.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Hi.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Ms. Schaefer?
Aye.
We're adjourned at 7:03.